Boomers ruin society and wreck the economy to reap the benefits, leaving Gen Z millennials to suffer a cruel fate while being left in the dust in regard to the rat race. Well, that's the sentiment we hear time and time again from young folks. Now, how much truth those sentiments hold could be definitely debated. So let's hear some discussion from some old people today and hear them fight back against the generational divide that the youth keeps bringing up. And if you personally feel like you relate to anything discussed in today's video, feel free to like, comment your thoughts and opinions below, and subscribe to see my daily uploads around here discussing topics just like this. And I want to start this video off by giving a huge shout out to all my channel supporters, my Patreon supporters, my channel memberships, and everybody who just rocks with the content. You can check out the links, all that stuff down below in the description. Those are some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. Now, let's begin.
We're boomers. We like to tell you how much harder we had it growing up. We're boomers, and of course we're tech savvy. Look how many of us are on Facebook, where everything is true.
Ooh, Facebook.
Did you see this puppy saved by a dragon?
My mom gets fooled by shit
So
like that.
cute. We're boomers. Even if you say you're not looking for advice, we're going to give it because we know we're so much smarter. We're boomers. We're kind of maybe waking up to how bad patriarchy is, but don't ask us to give up our position of privilege.
I'll wait till you hear some
Hey,
opinions in this
excuse
video.
me, you young kids there. Why are you walking down my street? I don't care if it's public. What are you doing? What are you doing? You up to no good? We're boomers. Now, we're a little late to the climate change discussion, but hey, we've been turning off our lights in every room for years, and it has nothing to do with the bill. Actually, it has everything to do with the light bill. We're boomers, and I don't have any problem with gay people. But do they have to kiss and do all that stuff in public? We're boomers. We believe in hard work and earning your keep. What's that? Well, yeah, I'm on Medicare. What's the point? We're boomers. Wait, why did I come in this room?
See, the thing
Okay, so that was obviously a skit done by a boomer about the stereotypical opinion and viewpoint of boomers. And obviously there are many people that are just like that and do actually think like that and are unfortunately portray themselves like that. That's their character and their personality. But you're going to hear today a couple different viewpoints, a couple different opinions, some of these videos of some older folks in these boomer generations, Gen X and all that. They actually are a little bit more woke. They do kind of understand the troublesome new reality of the world, and not everybody is in that sector or that field of opinions and viewpoints. But as we all know, there are some that are. So let's continue watching.
is this just further goes into the whole, boomers and elder Gen X think that everybody else has access to the same opportunity and disposable income they did because they had the types of jobs where their general cost of living, right? The cost for their homes, the cost for their vehicles was so low that they had access to additional funds that they could sort of just fail their way into a comprehension about what was reasonable.
And I have many friends who their parents, mostly their many people's fathers, they don't really understand how the time is much different than it was only 10, 20, definitely 30, 40 years ago. And how, like I've said many times before, when I'm 25, well, when my dad was 25, he had a job that was damn near reaching 100K a year with 2 years out of college, barely 10, $20,000 in debt, and he could pay that off in 3 to 5 years. He had a nice corner house, and he could take care of a 5-person family with a 1-person income at the age of 25. That's damn near impossible. Now, if you want to have a 5-person household, both the parents have to work and the kids have to work once they hit 15, 16. It's a cold, cold world out there, folks. We're going to hear some opinions about some older folks who do actually see the difference in how society has changed and shifted in the economy and stuff.
They think that like people born in 1980, 85, 1990 have access to the same stuff that they did, when the truth is they just simply don't, right? It's why you ended up with all these articles written in the last 10, 15 years talking about, oh, the reason millennials can't buy homes is because they're buying avocado toast. It's because the cost of rent over the last 15 years has gone up 400%.
And everything
That's
else has
why
too.
they can't afford anything. The wages have not gone up at all, while the cost of vehicles and food and everything else has absolutely skyrocketed. So they think in their mind, yeah, you can just fail upwards because they had access to be able to do that.
Why do
And
the
it's really easy to just be like, blame one thing and try to, if we fix this, we fix gas prices, if we fix food costs, if we fix inflation on housing, everything's getting pushed up. It's the food costs are always getting risen, the housing prices, the cost of education, if you are still trying to, excuse me, sorry, I had to burp. if you are still trying to be in a field, that you need to go to college for 2 to 4 years, all these things are getting up in price over and over and over again every single year, year by year. So, the cost of employment, the way they pay you, the pay raises aren't really not keeping up. And the way I've lived in cities, I actually found myself living in a place in 2020 where at the end of 2024, the same job I had in 2020, I was actually making less and paying more when you do the math. And I was working the same job, same place. It's just they were up in the rent so much every year, and my um, pay raises were not keeping up anywhere near. And now you can maybe say it's my fault, but many jobs you don't really have much say or much argument or much negotiation in terms of your pay. Either you find a better job, you work your way up in the company, or you just deal with what you have and hope to maybe make another side income. But at that point, how many more side incomes can you get before the inflation keeps going up, where you only have so much time and so much effort and energy to just be like, screw all this. Might as well just shack up on the side of the interstate with a nice cardboard mansion.
Boomers get so offended when us millennials bring up that they had an easier time acquiring a home or renting an apartment back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's when you all were in your 30s like we are today. And back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you were only spending about 18% of your income on rent or housing. We are now, as a household, spending 32% on rent or housing. That is a significant difference. And you're acting as if we have a time machine and we're going to go back and take that from you. We're not trying to take anything from you. We don't want a handout. All we're looking for is your support and understanding that we are going through a very difficult time when it comes to housing.
Need a safe space.
Now, obviously, the majority of the arguments are around housing cost and cost of living. And honestly, you could say, yeah, boomers wreck society. Boomers have to live in this reality as well. But the boomers are still alive. Yeah, they might have some more funds to deal with this rising cost of living, but if it keeps rising, their money only stretches so far, just like everybody else's.
Somebody says something that hurts their feelings.
This guy goes on to just complain about Gen Z and younger millennials being fragile and not being able to do things, and that, our boomers went off to war and stuff. You can't tell me that those boomers didn't come back and have mental issues and suffer from depression and anxiety and PTSD. Of course they did. They went through war. They just didn't have the language or services to deal with it. So they became alcoholics. They abused their wives. They beat their children. They did all kinds of things that today's generation are learning not to do, because they have the language to be able to ask for help, and the services are there to help them through these challenges. It's not weakness to ask for help. It's not weakness to show your vulnerability. It's not weakness to care about your emotions and the emotions of others. It is a strength, and we have to promote that.
Now, I'm not going to deny anything that he said in terms of, everybody does have feelings, and today's day and age, these new generations, my brother is a generation above me. He's in his early 40s, and I'm in my mid 20s. And we were talking about how he saw a video the other day on TikTok where I grew up with, let's say I stubbed my toe. Hey, honey, what happened? Let's go fix that. And he grew up where if he complained about that, literally, the parents would respond with, if you keep crying, I'll give you something to cry about. So the toughness was much different. You really didn't have the option, the choice to really feel feelings back in the day, especially not for men. So for many people, they have a tough time, in that generation, realizing that today, it's a lot more open to have feelings, and people are more open with their emotions, and it's not really, shamed or shunned to do that or be that way. But also at the same time, I do want to give a big respect and a big shout out and thank you to everybody who did give your service and were in any of these war times, any of these things. Because back in the day, these drafts, people didn't really have much choice to be in a lot of these wars. So I'm very grateful to have the freedom I have today, being born and living in the U.S. And this guy has this fancy handlebar mustache and a questionable Goodwill-looking scarf. So I do like some of his sentiment here about how, maybe it's okay to have feelings more now than it was before. But at the same time, some of these young folks do need to toughen up a little bit, I think, if they want to be able to really thrive in society. I think my new saying around here is many people are barely surviving while few are more than thriving. So it's kind of crazy to think that.
It just kills me about the boomer generation. My clients that are the older boomers, they will complain bitterly about how none of the younger generation wants to work. And I'm telling them, yes, they do want to.
All right, we just enjoy this lady right here. She seems like a really fun time. We have the short blue hair, We have the funky disco glasses, and I'm really appreciating the seatbelt. I really, safety first.
Work. They just don't want to work for you. They don't want to work for $10 an hour. Like, if we had options at our
She's
age,
wearing
we
contacts.
wouldn't have been
Her eyes are
working for no
crazy blue, like
$10 an
you have
hour.
to match
We
her
wouldn't
hair.
have been slinging hash in the restaurant. We wouldn't have been setting tobacco plants in the middle of a August summer of Kentucky. We would have been doing nothing but doing TikTok shops and freaking flipping things that we bought at the Goodwill and selling them on eBay. You know it's true. I know it's true. Why are you complaining about these younger generations? They've got options. They've got options that we did not have.
Now that is something I really want to put into perspective. There are many old folks that do understand, we're in a whole different age, guys, and there are so many different options that these people didn't have. So I think some people need to wake up and realize if you guys could do some TikTok shop, you guys could just shimmy shake dance on the internet and shimmy changa your booty away for a couple of views and a couple of bucks. A lot of people in the old days probably would do it as well. Especially when you're younger, you have less shame. Money's more meaningful and more powerful when you're young. So I think many more people are more open and willing to do things like that. But either way, I'd love to know all your guys' thoughts, opinions regarding all these topics. Also, maybe feel free to comment down below which generation you're from and your thoughts, opinions regarding all this. This is obviously a little bit, I wouldn't say clickbaity, but a little bit more a hostile opinion because, the first video is kind of talking about a skit about how boomers are, and last videos are really getting some actual perspectives about how boomers are these days. And it's really not as bad as many people like to make them out to be. I really think we can't just stamp, label certain groups and certain generations of people saying Gen Z, millennials don't want to work, old people, boomers, Gen X don't get it. I feel like there's different people in every generation. Um, it's really specific to the individual. So either way, I would love to hear your individual, personal, specific opinion. So feel free to leave that down below. Again, thank you so much for watching. I want to give a huge shout out before the end of the video to my Patreon supporters, my channel memberships, everybody who just rocks with the content. You guys are a big help around here, and you guys really keep this going around here. So I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.